edition of Southern Dirt Motorsports, the original Dirt Motorsports podcast. I'm Jeff Walker, and I'm joined today with Gary Lawrence, Mike Luna, Dusty, and we got Mike Weeks back. We're going to talk to him. As a matter of fact, he's fresh off of a win last night at the Wartburg Speedway. You want to tell us about that, Mike?
Well, started out hot lapped okay, didn't, but qualified on the pole, which that's always the best place to be. But made a few changes and was pretty good in the feature. Just my night, you know. They're hard to come by. You better cherish them every one you can get. My teammate Drew, he had a good car too, and he had a little motor trouble and didn't get to race. So I feel like we could have run first and second. Now I don't know how it ended up, but whichever way it would have was fine with me because it helped. It looks good on me either way. If he wins and I run second, it's fine. So, but yeah, it was just my night. Wartburg had a good crowd. You know, we got. I can't thank Rocket Chassis and them guys enough. They helped me a lot. People don't realize how much technology goes into this stuff, and you can call Steve Baker. All them guys up there are really nice. So, just our night. Had a good night.
Are both your cars Rocket cars?
Yeah, they are. They're both XR1s, and I actually got 3. They're all the same. And like I said, if you got a question, and all these chassis companies are that way. I'm not saying that Longhorn don't have nobody or nothing else, or any of these, but they've always been good to us.
You know, Mike's not only a great race car driver, but he's an accomplished fabricator. And that's one of the reasons why you landed where you're at right now.
Yep.
Is because you're able to do everything.
Well,
like what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Your father taught you
Yes.
this.
Oh, yeah.
So you're able to do this.
Yeah.
And now you're passing it on to Drew Kennedy.
Yeah. Drew and Billy Glenn, you know, Drew's a mortician at the funeral home, so I'd much rather have my job as theirs any day. But no, you know, I just I hope that later on down the road when I can't do it, I hope there's some younger generation kids that will learn to do it, that want to do it, you know. It's hard.
These cars are amazing now, Mike. I mean, the shocks, all the technology in the chassis, it's hard to believe, isn't it, that a race car costs $40,000?
Yeah.
I'm stuck in the 70s.
I put a body on one of our cars and we went to Smoky Mountain. My dad didn't get to go to the race a whole lot, you know, but it was close to home and he said, I'm going to come over. So he come over and he was standing there and, you know, back then, him old school, and still Dave. I mean, I know there's other people that do it, but he looked at the hood on that car and he was like, did you do that? I said, well, actually, no, it's a fiberglass hood. And he said, you put the body and interior on this whole car and you put a fiberglass hood on it. And I said, yeah. And he said, can't you make one of them? I said, yeah, I made them a lot. I said, but we bought these. And he was like, how much that thing cost? Well, I tell him, and there, you know, he's like, I can't believe that you would not make a hood. Yeah, he said, I could make 4 hoods for what it costs to make that one, you know. So there he was still thinking in the 90s, you know.
Trying to survive racing.
Right. He was like, I couldn't pay that for a hood.
Yeah.
They're like spring smash machines. Oh, he was like, I never thought I'd see the day to where you didn't have to have a set of scales for your race car and not worry about ride heights or.
Yeah.
And we don't even think of that anymore.
Yeah.
So technology's, you got to stay on it every day. It's like it's a struggle to keep up.
Very changing.
Yeah, if you miss 1 week, you might have missed a lot of stuff that's went on and be behind. I mean, it's ever revolving. It's really got the working regular 40-hour week class guy. It's hard for him to race.
Me and Gary were talking coming up here about electric cars and telephones and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that if you buy one today, then next week it's out of
Gotta have
date.
another one. Yeah.
And it's almost that way with shocks on the race car right now.
It is.
If you get a set of shocks today and somebody else comes up, all this Winston Cup, all this engineering and stuff, it just trickles down and, to the dirt racing.
Yeah.
And who would ever thought that you'd be stacking springs? And,
Oh, I know. You know, I love a lot of the dirt teams, the successful dirt teams, got engineers.
Yeah. And got
One comes with them.
Yeah, and he said, he was telling me here a while back about
he said, it's nothing to spend $12,000 on a good set of shocks.
Yeah, no.
And I said, $12,000, you know, I mean.
Buy a car back then.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
We did maybe
Complete
2 cars for
yeah.
that.
Ready to race.
Yeah, yeah, it's just, and you gotta do it. If you don't do it, you're behind. I mean, that's the way it
And you
is.
gotta have different shocks for different
Yeah,
tracks and
yeah.
different.
You gotta
Wait, this is-
change them, yeah. I mean,
Every
it's-
night.
In the way it is nowadays, Jonathan Davenport, which he ran on Bristol at Dirt last weekend, I believe it was, in NASCAR. But during his dirt racing last year, he won over $2 million dirt racing. And of course, it might cost him $4. But still, I mean, the money out there. They have all these series now, the Castrol series where they race on Tuesday nights for $20,000 to $30,000, and it used to back in the day, if there was a $10,000 race like the World 100, there was a lot of money. I know back when the World 100 was going on, I think it paid $10,000 for first and $2,000 for second.
And put $1,000 on every year.
Yep.
And then somebody said that somebody that ran on back in the pack there one time said, Earl said, you need to start paying more money. He said, well, you need to get up front.
Yeah.
So
Earl,
that's where all the money's at, on the front.
yeah, just like actually, you know, it's like this weekend, unheard of around East Tennessee, $100,000 to win.
Dale McDowell.
Yeah,
last
Dale.
time.
You know, somebody asked me last night at the racetrack. They said, "Who do you think will win that 100-lap race in a slick?" Dale McDowell or Chris Madden's.
That's exactly what
that's
I
going
mean.
to be my pick.
Horton
I mean,
was talking
yeah.
about that yesterday, and he said, I think one of them two. I said, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
But if there's a little bit of a cushion,
Yeah.
it might be Bobby Pierce.
Yeah.
And Pierce can't race down there in the bottom with them
Yeah,
guys.
well, you know, and Hudson,
Yeah.
Hudson.
Yeah.
But every car is good. There's
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
got
There's
no
nobody
bad
bad.
cars
That's
anymore.
right.
Everybody's
But you
got good
take-
equipment.
McDowell, where he grew up over around Cleveland, and that place was so slick
Oh,
back
yeah.
in the day.
And Crossville.
Yeah.
He come to Crossville.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
slick.
Ronnie Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
Rex Ritchie,
Oh, yeah.
Skip Art, John Jones. You name me one of them guys that didn't come
Hey,
out of that place.
I guarantee you.
That can't race.
You know, when I started racing, my dad took me to Tommy. Me being 15-year-old, scared to death, you know, go to this little big bull ring, and I'd go, you know, but growing up, I went there all the time, but not racing, you know. He told me, he said, if you can win a race here, you can win a race anywhere in the country, because this is the slickest place. Until I went to Boyd's in Cleveland, and I'm like, now it's flat and slick, so now, you know, I never won a race at Cleveland. Now, I liked it. I hated to see it go, you know, like any racetrack. But yeah, racing here, and I say this too, and I probably just kind of a little biased, but the talent in East Tennessee,
This is a hotbed.
And it's
tough.
always been.
It's always been. I'm not talking about myself.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
Jimmy, Scott, Dale, Ronnie. They've been a lot of legends come out of this area.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can go back about, 4 generations,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
way back.
Yeah, I
way
mean-
back.
and you know, sometimes you see a lot of them guys, they'll go up north and they run good. But for some reason, the guys that come from north down here, they kind of struggle. I guess it's the clay and the banking. They're not used to, you know, like Tazewell, Bulls Gap, places that's unbelievable banking, you know. It's just tough around
Yeah,
here.
he can go plumb back to like
Yeah.
Gary's daddy. I mean, when he put in the racetrack, he's subject to win.
Yeah.
You know,
But what year was it you said you won the track championship there?
98. I won it there in 98 and 2004.
2 times.
Yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment.
I mean, I never thought I'd even win a championship, you know, let alone, and the year I won in 98, my dad told me, he said, if you want to win a championship, let me tell you what you got to do. You got to finish. I don't care what, you got to finish. If you got a 5th place car, you got to run 5th. You can't try to run 2nd. That year I won 1 feature and won the points. That just tells you that. And that goes back to a testament of I didn't follow out of races because I had pretty good car maintenance, I guess, and motor, you know,
Absolutely.
things like that. That wasn't me. it was just, I was a pleasure to
You're on a
drive.
good program.
Yeah. You know, we was talking about John Jones, and I hate to get kind of off subject, but I think of these things and memories. John Jones was winning all the races at Crossville Speedway one year, drove a 22 car. You remember that? Well, Rocky was winning a lot of races at Smoky Mountain. And Smoky Mountain was going to race on Friday for some odd reason. So my dad told me, he said, we're going to Crossville this week. And I was getting to the age where I liked going a lot, you know. He was winning. I like my picture made, you know, one of them deals. So, but anyway, I'm like, where you going? He said, we're going to Crossville Friday. I said, I'm not going. He said, why? I said, you can't beat John Jones. This is my words now. He's like, what? I said, you can't beat John, because John Jones over there back in was tough. I mean, he was tough everywhere. Don't give me that.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, you're not going to go with us? Nope. No. Me being a little, 14-year-old kid. So Friday, I come home from school, and Crossville been an hour behind. I'm thinking, well, I might change my mind. When I got there, there's nothing gone. Being a kid and then you start going to races, that was a lonely feeling when you pulled up and your dad's truck and trailer was gone, because you had a busy mom or whatever. So anyway, kept worried about it back then, didn't have cell phones, didn't know what was going on, couldn't. Went to bed, woke up Saturday morning. On my nightstand over there said a trophy. I said, he must have stole that from John Jones. So I get up, go over, and I had to look at it twice, He got up. I think I was actually already in the garage working, getting ready for Saturday. I go out there and said, hey, you get that trophy. I said, John Jones must not have been there. He said, oh yeah, John Jones there. Rocky won the race with a right rear flat.
Wow.
Jack Trimble and him got together. Jack must have run second or third. John, they always racing there pretty hard. It wasn't intentional, just racing. I thought, that sucker, I better go back next week. They're going to go back, And, it was funny. He gave me that trophy. I got it at my house. That just memories that, I mean, them were, I could go back. Them were just great times in racing to me.
I think Crossville started in 1986
86,
from John Paul
exactly right.
Smith.
Okay, it probably was about 86, 87, somewhere around there.
At that time, they ran the 180-pound compression, 9-to-1 kind of rules.
Yeah.
And
$3,500
you had
build a motor,
any
really.
Friday night, you had Scott Bloomquist, Skip Arp, and Ronnie Johnson, and
Yeah, I
like
remember.
you said, John Jones, and all the guys up there compete. You had Michael Lena also.
Yeah. I remember going to Atomic, and back then, Jack Trimble was winning a lot of races. Had good equipment. I remember seeing a black 3 pull in there one night in a stacker trailer, just a one-car haul, and it was James Klein.
Yeah.
Had a V6.
And 600,
Or a 6-cylinder,
Yeah.
and killed them.
Yeah.
So
RPM.
that kind of told us, should have probably told us something. You don't need a whole lot of motor to be winning, and he did. And Jack Trimble did not like it.
I can remember James Klein. He was from down around Talladega. He was very smart.
Yeah.
Very good racer. And like you said, they ran those 6-cylinders that came out of those Bush cars.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I think the guy that owned that stuff at one time, maybe he was in Bush racing. With a car and stuff. And he's the guy that trucks go around Talladega. You see them go around and they have the checkered American
big
flag.
Yeah, the big
out
semi
back.
truck. Yeah.
That's his trucks, that guy, that same guy. But, James Klein was a great racer. And,
he started building cars on the end when he quit driving,
I
but
remember that.
I don't think it lasted long.
TC, or
I don't even remember.
TC race cars or something. I do remember that. Down around Talladega.
he started winning a lot of big races around at that time.
Yeah. And I remember growing up, they had $10,000 race at Atomic or Crossville. It was 100 laps.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big race, big motor.
Yeah. Now, if you told a promoter that you wanted to have a $10,000 win race in 100 laps, they'd freak out. 100 laps. But I think they ought to have more of those.
Oh, I love him.
Me.
100 lap.
It's
kind of back old school.
Yeah.
And I love that 100 lap.
Tire management, kind of.
It's like
enduro
race.
keeping your cool, your race car together. I just wish they'd have more than at least 50, 75 laps. I remember y'all, 100 laps at a time, 50 laps have a fuel stop, you know. And these guys they didn't have nice seats and headrests. And I ran a 100 lapper one time at Atomic on lap 50. I didn't have a headrest in there, and I mean, I'm ready to quit, get out. You know, my dad's like, "You be all right?" And I'm thinking, "No, I'm not. My neck's hurting." You know, but he's like, "Tap it up." You know, we talked about that earlier. Seats in cars, just fiberglass seats, no bags. Them guys are a whole lot tougher than I am.
But what's your thoughts on this next level of racing, where these big purses and stuff, and these little dirt tracks, they can't accommodate enough people to pay the kind of purse that it takes to run a car.
Yeah.
You're losing a lot of cars and a lot of people because they can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. I don't know what the.
I'm talking about local Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
local
local
Saturday.
Saturday, I don't know, and you know, I know that I wouldn't want to own a racetrack. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to have to put up with what the stress level. I mean, I'm thankful. You know, that's what I tell people too. I don't know if a lot of guys realize it, but race car drivers, when we go to a racetrack, we're entertainers. If there's nobody in the stands to entertain, what fun is that?
Yeah.
I mean, what fun is that for us? I mean, we want to know that there's people up there, whether they cheer for you or boo for you, they're supporting you.
Well, we've talked about what could you do to go back to draw, in other words, you're gonna have to cut the price on some.
Yeah,
on all the
I
equipment
agree
stuff.
completely. Yeah, I don't know if there's I say this all the time, and I know a lot of guys probably wouldn't do it. I say like race cars, like Liam did stuff like what we run. Vote for 55s on them and let them race. The tire bill, I mean, I know it's going to not be good for Hoosier or American Racer, but it's going to be good for the guy that can't afford to buy 4 or 6, 8 tires every other week. I mean, you run on 1600. I don't have a problem. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't know, like y'all's question. Me thinking, whatever it costs to get in a movie theater, I think that's what the grandstand should be.
Yeah.
Because on Friday night, or Saturday night, let's just say you and your wife and 2 kids go to the races and sit in the stands. It costs you $100. Well, me being a kid, me having kids, and you all know this too. If you take a kid to the racetrack,
They're hungry.
I don't care if you eat the steakhouse. When you get to that racetrack, they're hungry.
Yeah.
But you don't have the money to. A lot of these people are just regular working people working a regular job. If they go to the racetrack one night, it takes one day of their pay.
Yeah.
To go to the racetrack.
And they gotta have a good job.
Yeah,
They gotta have a good job to do that.
us.
My opinion is though, and I know it's not popular at all, but I think the crate cars for the main event has hurt racing. People that go sits in them stands and them cars go by turning like 6,800 RPMs and they're faster through the corners than they are down the straightaway. I think there need to be a level of danger there. I mean, that's part of the draw, I think, and the supers is just a whole different deal than the crate deal.
Yeah.
I think the fans in the stands get, they say, hey, we're running late models. But they don't add on.
Right. What is late model?
Yeah,
I mean,
but, when it goes by, it sounds like the old farm truck.
Yeah. I don't know. I know it costs a racetrack promoter a lot of money to open the gate. I get that. I understand that. But the other thing too, I mean, it's costing the racer twice the money to try to race, and he's not getting. The purse is the same when I was a kid.
That's right.
Or less.
Or less.
If you don't have a lot of help.
Oh, no.
Nowadays, I mean, every night that you race on these motors and stuff, it just, for lack of a better word, it's a nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
I mean, and it costs as much as a motor used to, just
Right.
to freshen
Freshen
the
it up.
thing up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you got to count that stuff as part of the expense of racing at the end of the night, so.
How many races, if you ever count, just how many races can you get out of a motor?
Well,
I know back when we were
yeah.
racing, you got where if you run 5 times, that was it. You had to pull that thing out.
Yeah, I think and
1,200 laps?
Different engine builders, 1,500 laps, and you're gonna have, and that's if nothing's wrong. Still gonna cost you a lot of money. And now too, I think a lot of the engine builders have come to a problem like after COVID, unfortunately, like can't get parts, like can't get pistons, or if you got one motor. I remember being when I first started racing with my dad. We start racing like here again. I think I race too long now. I think you start being a kid, start in
Exactly.
March and
Exactly.
quit in October, September.
Like J. Paul Smith does. Keep them wanting it instead of.
You go from, and I understand like the higher level guys like Jimmy and Scott and Hudson and these big touring guys, they got to race because that's how they make a living. But we'd start racing in March or April, and about June or July, we'd pour a motor out and get it freshened up. That's how kind of what we'd figured, middle of the year.
Yeah.
Get it freshened up, get us on into
We don't,
September.
back in the day, we would try to start out with two motors, a fresh motor and one that was in the car. And then we'd run, like I said, to close to the middle of the year. And then for the big race, like July the 4th and all that,
Big
we'd jerk
red.
the old one out
Have
and
a good one, yeah.
put the fresh one in there and then go back through it, so how at the end of the
Yeah,
year.
but like you said, now a freshen up costs more than a motor.
The way these guys race nowadays, Gary, too, all these motors are set on keel, and you turn the thing
They are.
8,500
Oh.
all night long, and you race every lap just like it was qualifying.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't,
That's
they're gonna
right.
lap you.
Yeah.
That's right.
You
You
can't
know,
save nothing there.
I heard Mark Richard was talking the other night on something there. And he was talking about how much money, I don't remember how much it was, it cost to, how much money it was a lap.
On a super
that-
engine,
on a
they
super
had that
motor.
figured out, yeah.
He had it figured up. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was,
More than you think.
yeah, it's terrible. But there again, them guys are, the way they're racing, they've got to have 7 or 8 motors.
I sure enjoy watching them though.
Oh, I do too. I mean,
Really?
I can't compete with them, and I tell people all the time, what do you consider? I've had a guy ask me one time, he said, what do you consider yourself? I said, I just consider myself a racer. I had never actually got to drive an open wheel, but I watched them last night at Wartburg, put on a heck of a show. I would like to dabble in a little bit just to see, because it's a challenge. It's something that I hadn't fooled with or done or worked on. But them guys are racing 415 and 430 motors on a tire this wide.
Yeah. That,
They're doing pretty good.
For lack of a better word, B.J. Parker, who used to be the Southern All-Star founder and ran the Southern All-Star Series for years, he always said, you can't help them. And he was talking about the racers. And it's true, when they start a class, even this crate class, but when they start like the open wheel class, they had a claimer on the motor, they had all this stuff. And these guys will just go out here and, buy a $1,600 carburetor.
Yeah.
Or, when they're supposed to have a 2-barrel.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's right. You can't help them.
Yeah.
Because they'll destroy themselves.
Yeah.
Well, back years ago when we raced, one time they cut back, they're gonna make it cheaper and run 8-inch star. You run whatever motor runs, and then we run before, like down in Sparta, it was by the motor,
Oh, yeah.
but it wouldn't last just a little while, and they'd start buying this and buying that, and by the end of the year, they was back up running
Yeah.
full speed again.
Yeah,
Everything.
I don't think that there's an answer to it.
No. It's
I don't.
evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
55 Chevrolets to
Yeah.
where
Oh,
it is
yeah.
now.
the thing I think they've got away from trying to, like you said, entertain. The fans there needs to see a show, a spectacle, at least danger, some danger. And that's why I think, if you have to run them once a month, run supers, I just
Yeah, I
think
agree.
that's a show,
I agree.
But if you are running the crates, say, hey, we got crate late models. I don't think you need to lie to the people, the fans.
Like the big motor stuff, like the all aluminum motor stuff, like they're running. It really, I don't think now there's not many people in this area that have them motors because they can't afford them. Yeah. And you're racing with professionals. I mean, that's what you got to understand. Now, granted, you might go out there and qualify and lay down a pretty good lap, but I promise, I don't think you're going to outrace them guys.
Yeah.
You're not going to outrace guys that's run 80 races a year,
Mhm.
or already run 80 races to this date, and I run like 5.
Mhm.
I can't compete with that. I don't think I could at the way I am, at the level, because you got to race every day. Them guys are testing, or racing, or something. That's how they're successful. I mean, like Dale, Dale, he still got it. He proved it. And I mean, Scott, he still got it. I think it'll take him, he just got behind a little bit. But
He just lost his focus a little.
I think it's in his head. I think a lot of it's in his head. I do.
My personal opinion, I think Scott Bloke was probably one of the best that ever was. I think Dwayne Hummel was going to be a Scott Bloke was. He got hurt.
Yeah.
Now, before my time, everybody talked about Jeff Purvis. So Purvis was probably one of the best ones they ever saw. But I think he had a lot of good backing back in too. I think that's a lot of it too. These race cars are a whole lot easier to drive now than you remember back when the left front tire was off the ground 6 foot and you're trying to wheelie and you let off the gas and it hit the ground and it was tough.
But every era is different.
Yeah.
You have guys that come along, it's just about timing. And like you said, getting with the right people. And and then you go from nobody to dominant and stuff. But because you and so and so is on the same page.
Yeah.
That's all you're thinking about. And
yeah.
It's just a combination, I think.
Yeah. And I tell people, all the time, I love racing. I love it. It's been bred into me. I mean, it's something you can't take out.
You're like me, it's not a sport.
No, it's my living.
Yeah.
It's my living. It's my livelihood. It's how I pay my bills. Not driving a race car by no means. I'd be broke and wouldn't have a house. But working on them.
Yeah.
But that goes back to I was blessed enough to have a dad that's how he done it. And but there again, people talk to me a lot about my dad, and me personally, I don't think he got the recognition that he should have.
I don't either.
Because of one thing. He didn't kiss nobody's tail. I mean, I think he wasn't a politician.
Yeah.
He just told you how it was, and he's told me, believe me, he told me a lot of times how it was.
You're right.
And we argued and fussed and fight, but at the end of the day, at that time I might have thought he was wrong, but when I got older, he was right about everything he ever told me.
Lester was just take that jig deal. Did he ever tell you about that?
Yeah.
They come over to get it, and he said, Mike, it's not what you think. You don't need to do it like this. And I thought,
Most people would have sold it to you and took your money.
In a heartbeat. And that's what Lester Weeks was.
To me.
Man, I'm going to tell you, this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Talking about the old days.
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys.
Come right up to present, you win in the race, and still on any given Saturday night, these little dirt tracks around here, Wartburg, Crossville, all these little racetracks, when you see your hauler pull in, you know you're going to have to race.
Well, I appreciate
Mike
that.
Weeks.
I appreciate
You're going to be
that.
on the wheel, and you got your race car prepared.
I hope.
Got it ready to go.
I appreciate that, and I just hope that when I'm done racing, that me and my dad can be in the Hall of Fame together.
There you go.
Because he's in the Hall of Fame, and I hope that I've done enough for the sport that I can.
There you go. I think we ought to end it on that, unless you guys got anything else. No? Mike, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad. I want to congratulate you.
Yeah,
for
thank
winning.
you. I appreciate it.
That's
Yeah.
a great thing.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
On that, then, we'll end this episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports. We'll see you next time.